Welcome to my wonderful floral workshop, you very, very special people. Today I'll be demonstrating how to make a front view arrangement. And if you don't know me by now, I love to come up with nicknames because I believe humour is what makes education stick. So the humour today is that it is a front view arrangement, but for my students who know me best, I like to call this workshop Mrs. Palmer and her 5 daughters, and we can't forget about the grandkids. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about is the material that I'll be using, so the equipment and the cut flowers as well. So over to the back here, as you can see, I've written the floral contestants' names, and over here we've got the iris, the spray roses, the aster, the lysianthus and kale. And you know, throughout the workshop I'll be sharing some floral gossip about the floral contestants. And moving over to the other side of the board with the equipment, the sundries that we'll be using is the secateurs, the floral foam, the knife, the pot tape, and lastly the number 5 bowl. And we can't forget that we need the water in order to soak the floral foam as well. So they're all the goodies that we're going to be using in this workshop. Now over to the bench, as you can see, I've got my bucket full of water here. I'll be soaking the floral foam into that very, very shortly. We've got here the floral foam that I'll be cutting up very, very shortly as well. I'll be demonstrating how much of this brick I'll be using for my number 5 bowl, as you can see there. It also comes in other different colour as well, so you can also get it into the green. I'm not sure, maybe I should use the white one today. Yep, I'll use the white one in today's workshop. So it also comes in other colours as well. So I'll be using the white bowl, the number 5 bowl in today's exercise. I've got my secateurs here. Now I've got a chopping board, as you can see here. I'll be using that to cut the floral foam because you don't want any scratches on your bench area. Okay, so moving forward, I'm just going to demonstrate how you cut into a floral foam brick. Now using my chopping board, as you can see there, I'm going to cut the floral foam today using my knife in dry form. The choice is yours. If you want to soak your floral foam into the water and then cut into your floral foam, you may do that. But for today's exercise, I'm going to cut it dry. So as you can see there, the floral foam comes into 3 sections. So it's a guide of where I can, you know, run my knife into. And for a number 5 bowl, you only need, at the moment, as I'm cutting into it, 1/3 of a brick. So I'm not going to use that side of the brick, I'm going to put that aside. So with my 1/3 of the brick, as you can see there, again, I'm going to cut that in half. So make sure you're cutting it evenly in half. And with one of them, select, and then I'm just going to move my bucket of water closer to the bench there. And I'm going to drop my floral foam into the water. Now with floral foam, please allow it to sink naturally, a bit like the Titanic sinking. If you force it to drink by pushing your hand onto it and forcing it to drink, it's not going to drink equally or as much water because it goes into shock and then it creates air sockets in the floral foam. So it's going to go from a light green in colour to a dark green. So that's all ready to pick up. So that's what I mean by the dark green. Now it is soaked to the light green when it's dry. So with the dark green floral foam brick, I'm going to bring it across, rest it on my chopping board, and I'll put the dry one aside like so. Now we spoke about my number 5 bowl, colour in white of course. That's going to be my platform to rest my floral foam into it. So it's just so easy. You just push it into the teeth that the number 5 bowl has. Just make sure you center it correctly and you just push it in like that, and voila, it is secure. Now, I like to add more security to this combination, and I'm going to introduce you to a sundry that I really respect. So I'm just going to move my bucket of water aside, and I'm going to introduce you to one of my really good friends. It's called pot tape. Now again, special people, make sure your hands are dry because you don't want wet hands when you're using pot tape. So I'm just going to take it like that. So I'm going to use about, I'd say that's about 30 centimetres in length pot tape. Give it a bit of a haircut. And I need another 30 centimetre as well. So it's pretty sticky actually. A bit like sticky tape, but more stickier. Okay, so with my first pot tape strip, I'm going to rest it onto the wet floral foam like that. Can you see that? And then with my extra bits, I'm going to run it down the bottom like so. Any extra bits, just tuck it into the bowl like that. Now, when you are then securing the other side, just pull it, because if you don't pull it, it's not going to be, you know, strong on the sides there. And I'm going to repeat that same process on the other side. So again, make sure your hands are dry. Okay, so when you're using your pot tape, your hands need to be dry. Okay, so I'm going the other side now, and I'm going to attach it to the bowl, run the strip underneath, and with my final strip on top, just pull and then attach it to the bottom. So that now is so firm, it feels so good, and that floral foam is not going to go anywhere. So upside down, on the side, it's not going to fall out, and it's secure. Okay, so I'm going to take my chopping board away now. I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to introduce you to the Lazy Mercedes. I love this. It's a saucepan with wheels, as you can see. And I'm going to place my number 5 bowl onto it. And that's going to give me more access to moving my bowl around, or my arrangement around, when I'm finished with it. And it relieves some stress, you know, around from your shoulders. So I really highly recommend it. You can actually pick it up at Bunnings Warehouse in every single store across Australia. They're accessible. Okay, so I'm resting that now onto my Lazy Mercedes, and very shortly I'm going to introduce you to the floral contestants.